Oh, that's loud. That's better. I had a moment there where I was like, that isn't going to be too loud, is it? It was a little loud. Oh, here. Let me do one more thing. You reposition my skull. Then we'll get started. I am. It's the end of July. I have to do this. I want this countdown done by the end. I want this countdown done definitely by the middle of August. Because again, the only thing I have to do after this is the dang thing, and then have her walk off screen. And we'll be done. And we'll be done. So welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm your host, Isaac MCCanary. It's time, once again, get back to the old grindstone to start burning the midnight whale. The midnight whale. I don't even know what that is for. I'm not a witch, so I wouldn't be able to say for certain why that's important. Oh, that's what it is. But pretty much now, what I need to do... Actually, here's what we're going to do. I want to do that, and then I want... So, I'm going to try something I was wanting to kind of experiment with. We're going to do something a little bit different, where I want that to stay that way. And I'm going to try doing kind of like a hold in a way that I've never done before. And there's two ideas I have with this. Be a little bit different. I want it to have a little bit of a difference. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And what I want to do is just add a little bit of variation. Draw this out. Leave this the way that it is. I'm gonna add that line. Why not? That won't break anything. That. This. Niet. Ooh. Just like. Just like. Not the slightest bit of motion. Because ideally, there is not. Her hand's not moving much anymore. That's ideally what I want going on. I need make that the rotation point. That is something I have to remember to do, is I need to change the central point of rotation. Rotate from that point. That'll probably, yeah. What I want to go for... I want to eventually have this... Like, I want to reuse this frame. I essentially want to reuse this frame. I want to do one more frame. It would help if I finished the drawing, though. That would help. I think this will be. It will be interesting come October, because around October, I'm gonna have to make a decision. And if I do have to put this on hold, it will be because I am going to be working on a lot of stuff. But hey, if I have to put this on hold, I definitely know what I would work on instead. Oh boy, do I know what I would work on instead. I have some ideas. I would still be doing animation, don't you worry. I think I know exactly what I would be doing if I don't end up working on this at all in October. And I definitely know if I'm going to be doing any artwork in October, it's going to be for something very specific, which I'm very excited about, by the way. I have been feverishly working on that project in a at a capacity that even I was not expecting to do so. I have been doing so much research. It's a bit silly, but hey, just hit me, man. It just hit me. I'm struck with the inspiration to do something with that setting, and definitely am looking forward to whatever comes out of it. Even if I just get a bunch of cool concept art, I'm gonna be happy with that. I would be even happy with that. Because ultimately, as long as I do get like some really cool, neat art out of it, I could always use it. I could always save it and then use it for the future, though. It sounds like I might be able to have a game going. I definitely know that I'm not the only one interested in running that system, so we shall see. We shall see what would. And I still can't really say what the system is because I want it to be a little bit of a reveal. But it's a cool system. If you know anything about tabletop, you'd probably be able to find it because it is very like clearly the best system. Well, not best. It is very clearly a system that is heavily influenced and inspired by the source material that I will also be using to write that campaign. So if you know anything about what I'm doing and connect dots, it to me seems pretty obvious. I might do. I work on. Am I gonna finally add a blink? I've been meaning to add blinks. I keep on saying I'm like, I'll go back and add blinks, which will be a pain in the ass. I might need to just start doing that. She hasn't blinked this entire time. Might as well start now. I do feel like I'm very focused today. Or at the very least, I'm very plugged in. I definitely am like, I want to get progress done. Really, really, really need. I really want to, if I'm feeling particularly savvy, I'm going to try to get maybe even 2 fingers done. I know last time I got 1 finger done. So I think I was going particularly slow last time, so that's probably why I only got 1 finger done. This time I want to try to go for definitely 1, if not 2 counts. And if I get 2 counts in 1, that would be very useful. If the countdown can be done by next session, that would be amazing. That would be like the best case scenario. And I mean, if what I'm going to have in mind works, it'll hopefully save me some time, because I want to try doing something that will allow me to keep a certain element of animation that I like without having to actually do more work. Because in reality, I need to treat every frame as an asset. Every frame is a part that can be manipulated and changed and used if I use it that way. This largely the same. Slight change. What I'm going for is trying to keep, hopefully, like, generally a lot of the same shape and everything. Make slight tweaks to it, like slight nudges, to show that it's not holding completely still. And then I have an idea on how to start the next part. I want to get about halfway through this. I've had people say, if you've ever wondered, how are you able to keep your hand so steady when you draw? The real answer is I started animating. That's really how. Because I feel like my hands, at one point, were kind of my worst enemy. They were very shaky, actually, believe it or not. For a very long time. And just over time, the more I did it, the more I was like able to start actually train that discipline to prevent that from happening. Being able to develop the kind of like control requires really struggling with that control for a long time. That's something that helped me a lot anyways. I'm not perfect. I still can't do a perfect circle sometimes. So I think that is a little overrated. I think when it comes to the whole circle thing, you've made a round shape and you're happy with it, that's good enough. Main reason why I call it overrated is just because Circles? You don't see, well, I'm gonna say you don't really see perfect circles, but it depends on what you're looking at, I guess. There are some circular things that are much more circular than other things. But usually, I find the easiest way and the best way to make a circle is you usually don't do a circle in a single stroke. Though you can. Typically, I find that that circles are easiest to do in one of two ways. You either have to build them up through kind of a repetitive circular motion, or here's an easy way to do a circle. Say I go up to, what size is this? Let's go up to 100. Circle. Circle. That's a circle. Sometimes a circle is just that easy, and then you go there and there you go. A circle. Easy. And it's if you need a circle, so there are ways to do circles that aren't that bad, honestly. Boy. Nope. I was about to be like, I was using a 5, okay. It also helps in order to like get that kind of control. I've learned that slowing down does make a huge difference. And oftentimes you get faster not by going as fast as you can, but by training that smoothness until you can do it quick enough that you don't have to slow down to do it. That requires a period where you have to take the time to learn to do something slow. And trust me, there are still growing pains for that. I have had plenty of experiences with art in which training that muscle memory and training that muscle discipline didn't feel like something I could do. Just gotta sometimes keep doing something until it works. Dude, it works. I don't know why. I don't know why I said it like that. If anything, one of the things I want to get better at is I want to actually like draw a line out to its fullest extent. I have a bad habit of stopping lines too short, starting lines too short. That is something that I'm particularly bad about. I don't draw a line out all the way sometimes when I should be. There we go. Animation just takes a lot of time. That's kind of the night. That's why it's kind of nice when you don't have to do animation, actually. I feel like. Though I do feel like there's a bit of a psychic disconnect where some people believe that animation is not that good because when you look at an individual drawing of animation, it's like, especially if you're like comparing it to something like a manga, there's a lot of feeling that like animation, there's a lot of feeling that animation quality wise like lacks or suffers, when in reality part of that comes from the fact that you have to do a bunch of drawings anyway. Usually, nice thing at least is like, say if you're doing a manga adaptation of, or an anime adaptation of a manga, a lot of those stills could be used as a keyframe, which is really nice. But what a lot of people don't understand is you can't put everything even in a keyframe like that because you need to have context for all the things in there. And sometimes you just can't have that much information. It's more work and it's unnecessary. It's actually unnecessary. In fact, a single frame in a manga is got a lot more detail in it to communicate more than it would if it was moving, because it has to be able to communicate more information because it is a still image. It's not even just because it's only one picture and the guys only had to draw one picture. In fact, they only got one picture. They could only draw one picture, so they had to describe things like action, motion, and energy in a single frame, which is inversely its own process of work. Like, in a certain sense, the best animation does really utilize the simplest frames. At least I would like to believe so. I would like to think so. Don't want that shape to change, Sarah. I don't know why. I kind of liked that bend. Kind of like that pinky bend. I like that pinky bend. Uh-oh. Now who's going to scream today? You didn't scream at me at all yesterday. Today you're going to be a scream bot. What? What? Doing? What? Boy. Rapey turd. Screamer. What? He was sitting on my bed earlier, just completely squashed out. The way he sits and lays down sometimes is really funny since he doesn't have a tail. He just looks like a strange bun. And he is kind of just a strange bun. And he wants to break inside of my table, which makes me worried. Listen, this table has a history. The table that my computer is sitting on right now has a history in which it may or may not have housed a family of small creatures. And I did clean it, so I'm worried that there might be small creatures in it. Maybe I might have to open up and see if there's one in there or something. Just scare it out or something, because that or it's dead inside of there, which would still not be good. That would not be good for me. So I wouldn't know how it would have gotten inside of it. But hey, either way, it can't be in there. I should check it out. Part of the problem is I have a table that's a little bit too close, so it blocks the drawers. The drawers don't open as easily, so in order to get in there, I'd have to move that, which would be a pain. That might be a project for a Sunday or something. We'll see. Wait, what? The whole thing. Sometimes I don't know what it does. Why Sometimes I don't know why a frame does what. I don't know how I did that, but I fixed it. I fixed it, and that's what matters. I do know he had a small creature a while ago. I do know it last was seen approaching the computer desk, so it's not without reason to believe that it has shoved itself in there. Sort of refuge. As a delinquent refuge, and personally speaking, I definitely should deal with it. And I would classify any small furry animal as a delinquent. What else would it be? Hello, Moat. We're just talking about small furry delinquents. I'm making progress, maybe. Well, no, I am. I'm hoping that by stroke of pure effort more than anything else, I'm able to get multiple actions done today. And I mean, like, I'm already getting pretty far into this one, so every single one of these frames takes me around 5 minutes, I would say. Which ideally, if I could get a frame a minute, that would be insane, but that is some real shit, man. That would be some real crazy shit to be able to do a frame a minute. How dare you? I was just talking about tiny creatures. That's all I was talking about. Also depends on how they crush their windpipe. Did they use their teeth? That's just metal as hell. That's just radical, honestly. I feel like today I'm like more dialed into drawing than talking. I've kind of noticed that. That's why I'm like going to zen and zone, but I will still try my best to rate. It's what I do. I haven't really had much happen within the last 24 hours. Been busy. I feel like I'm beginning to understand that there's a certain point that you get to that you just end up having to do chores all the time, and I want to know what circle of hell I landed myself in to get to that point, but it's because I do a lot. I have a lot of homework that I do, and I still can't believe at the God given age of 32, I who hated homework actively do homework regularly. I guess thanks, school. You got me in the habit to work on things, so never. Well, I appreciate that you're here. I appreciate that you and everybody comes and watches me work on stuff, play video games. That's what I do. Apparently, my brain is that of a bit of mush. It's weird. I have brain mush, but I don't really have. I don't feel like I have like it's not keeping me from working on the animation. I'm like actually feeling like really good about the progress I'm making right now. I guess take that. Take that, weird feelings. I'm still being productive. Well, scoop them up, put them in the fridge, and save them for later. Sometimes you just gotta put the brain in the fridge. It'll be fine. Help it cool down a little bit. Have an idea. I'm gonna do one more, right? I'm gonna do one more of these. And then let's see if this works. I have an idea. Is this the secret I've been looking for? Because again, I have to remember that a frame is a tool. And every individual frame can be used. So, oh, god damn it. I feel like I like this a lot. I love this song. Like, I like this set a lot. But I feel like a lot of people say that it's pretty loud. It does not help. I've been having microphone problems recently. I've been having some microphone problems recently. I will admit that my microphone is getting a bit aged and dated. But I appreciate that. I know this particular song gets a little blah. Fair enough. What? I mean, I've had people, I've like made things that I use music for, because oftentimes I find that I play music in things a lot more for the music than for me, depending on what it is. Like, if I do like a video, if I make a video, oftentimes I want the video to be showcasing the music more than showcasing anything that I say if my voice is in it, because usually I'm trying to illustrate the activity and the music more than anything else that's going on. Besides, you'd be able to hear me in the VOD. There we go. For me, music is a fascinating thing because I feel like music is a very important part of the creative process for me. And I can't necessarily explain why. I find that utilizing music in my work is something that I care a lot, like a lot about. It's something that I like find a way to work in anything that I work into, whether I'm working on something like this, where I want music in the background, or if I'm working on a video, I want to utilize music as a kind of like tone setter. I really care about that kind of thing. Um, Whether I'm running tabletop game or playing in a tabletop game, finding the right music for the right tone is something that I just really care about. I just really, really care about music as a way to both create a sense of ambience, but also as a way to sort of amplify whatever is happening. Mm-hmm. Well, fair enough. Your rant is very good about how you want music to be heard more than your voice. The irony. Ah, I get you. I'm just here to yap and ramble. I'm just here to talk about. I'm just here to scream fuck, as I would like to say. And I don't mean literally. I mean that as a turn of phrase that I have picked up fairly recently. Whenever my cat is like incessantly yelling at me, I describe it as screaming fuck. That's what it means to scream fuck. It's just to make a lot of noise. Which my cat is known to do. It is his favorite. It's his favorite pastime, certainly, is to scream fuck at me. He was screaming fuck at me earlier. About what? I'll never know, but he was screaming fuck at me earlier. Well, I don't know how that dot got there, and then when I went to go undo it, it somehow preceded the line I had made when I swore I saw it pop up after I made that line. Okay, maybe I was blind. I really thought it did. I thought I saw it do that, but maybe not. See, that's the problem. I grew up in a period in which just kind of haphazardly using certain swear words as just a filler phrase. That was like how me and a large portion of our of my kind of like adolescence, how we grew up, is just kind of using a lot of swear words as filler words. And John brought up a fair point one day. He was like, I really need to learn other words, and I kind of agree with him. I'm like, I think that a good swear is funny. I think a good swear is always funny in the right context. However, even I can be like, I can use other words, and there are funnier words to use. And I think it's more of an issue not from a like sort of like decency standpoint. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck about that. Well, I don't care about that. Say use whatever words you want to use within reason, obviously. But use words. Well, I was 17 at one point, but I do think there's like a bit of a point where it's so much less about like decency and just more about like, man, I really should use other words, shouldn't I? Mm-hmm. Wait, you're supposed to learn that at the end of your teens? Supposed to learn that at the end of your teens? I definitely did not learn that until way later. I didn't learn that until I learned that Tim Rogers promised to never to swear to his mother, or that promised to his mother that he would never use a swear word ever in his life, and then apparently proceeded to do so, and then has thus inspired me to find some of the most wild ways to describe things because he has to be creative and can't just rely on things like the word fuck, shit, or ass. It's not fair. Though apparently he did call people a ravioli, but it wasn't the ravioli, it was the R word, which I also did because it was the 90s and I was a kid. And it was acceptable to call people the ravioli. Except it wasn't ravioli as he would put it. I didn't make that joke, he did. And I wouldn't use that word now either. That's the thing. I also feel like I've at least developed like enough of understanding that I'm like, there are also words that, yeah, people, I'm even there. I'm just like, I just don't feel comfortable saying that word anymore. It's not a word I like to say. It's not a word that's cool to say. It's not a word that's cool to describe people. It's not a word that's cool to say about people. So I just don't use it no more. Even if I used it for myself, pointed at myself. Mm-hmm. We're boring here. That's the problem. We're boring here. We're very pent up. That's normal. Shouldn't be, but it is. Now I'm going to try this. We're going to try just taking this, paste it there. That didn't work. Paste in place. There we go. Hmm. That also didn't work. I think I still need to do it. Hey, hold on. I think I still need to make keyframe there, delete that, and then paste in place. Take two of these, copy. We're going to make another frame there, and what I'm doing is I'm trying a shortcut. I'm going to try a shortcut. Shortcut I'm trying for is I already have some still frames. What if I just tried reusing them? Because it's not like there's much motion anyways. Uh-huh. I mean, if you just went up to people and were like, "Have you fucking seen this man?" and or you should fuck watch Canary and people don't run away from you. They were meant to stay here. Yeah, that worked. Hmm. I hate this. It. I hate this because actually, just seen it like this first. Yeah. Yeah. What the hell, man? What the hell, guys? I have to draw every frame. That sucks. I was really hoping that would work, but I don't think it did. It looks better this way. I removed those frames. It looks better this way. Well, we're only about an hour in. I'm actually about to the next. I'm about to the next. To the next break point. So I'm gonna do like a few more frames, and then we'll lower the finger. That'll take like 3 or 4 frames. That'll take 3 or 4 frames. Yeah, I'll have to lift it, and I'll have to bend the finger. When I do so, I have to. So when I go to bend the pinky, my hand will bend a little bit as the pinky goes down, and as soon as it hits the thumb, the fingers will straighten back out. Is what I am understanding the motion that I'm gonna have to do here. What is even that? What even is that? Oh, just some little guys. Can't even tell what those little guys are. Oh, turns out, folks, I have to animate. Turns out, I have to draw them all. I'm sure there's a way that I could have found that I wouldn't have had to draw every single one of these frames. But I have to. But I'm gonna have to. Or else I'm gonna cry. Unfortunately, when you do animation, you have to do a bunch of drawing. Actually learned recently, somebody I didn't know who was an animator. Or at least had gotten a degree in animation. Fellow streamer, gal, Misa Deluxe. Actually got a degree in animation, which is really cool. I did not know that. I shared one of my animations, and she mentioned that she actually had gone to school for it, so I know other animators, I guess. It is really cool. Not the only one. And I guess it goes to show people actually like my stuff. The only reason why that's a revelation is because, unfortunately, I think I had a period of my life where even other artists not like my art and did not support me very well, unfortunately. And I'm not saying I always made great art, but I always felt like I could make something or do something. And I always felt kind of like weirdly left out. Maybe not even left out, just like discouraged a lot. But then again, a lot of my art I viewed as just kind of like silly doodles. That is what I did for a long time, was just kind of silly doodles. I mean, I still do silly doodles. I do silly doodles so much that one could argue that my primary art style is silly doodles. That is my primary focus of art design, is silly weird shaped guys. Untrue. Actually from Kansans. What anime gators? What anime gators are you speaking of? I mean, I like gators. I think gators are cool. the ancient the ancient distant relatives of dinosaurs and one of the earliest or one of the longest lived lineages of archosaurs, still around to this day in the swamps. Crocodilomorphs are kind of strange creatures, especially when you start looking at them a lot. They're very, very weird. If I remember oh no. I was thinking of something else. I was about to be like, if I remember correctly, I think there's a crocodilomorph that started to essentially try to take over the niche of a turtle. And no, that's not true. I was thinking of an ankylosaur that ended up becoming a a piscivorian seeming river dwelling dinosaur that was starting to take on the shape of a turtle because, believe it or not, turtle shape has appeared multiple times in the fossil record across different animals that had nothing to do with turtles. Ah, I understand. Always. It's true. It's just one step down from crab. What are turtles but the efforts of vertebrates to even scrape the purity of a crab. All vertebrates turn into turtles. All invertebrates turn into crabs. It's true. Because nothing can eat them. You want to be uneatable. Become a turtle or a crab. And that's not to say that I don't eat a lot. If I couldn't, I wouldn't eat a lot of crab. Crab. What's funny is, actually, in a certain sense, crabs don't really fill that kind of description because we and many things probably eat crabs so often. I think the big difference there, though, is that crabs make so many more crabs. Like many animals, the goal to survival is just making so many babies that it doesn't matter if you die. That is a strategy by some species is metric. Looking at you, ocean sunfish. Oh my god, what did the crab do? Did the crab try to get back out? What the hell? But for real, I'm glad you're okay. Jesus, that crab almost killed you. I'm guessing it was from eating a crab. Oh no, you said eating a crab. For some reason I thought you just said crab. Maybe that crab decided to try to pull you over in traffic. Maybe that crab tried to kick through your window shield. I don't know. But for real, why did a crab almost kill you? And I like crab. Oh, fair enough. I mean, you are shrimp. Crabs can eat shrimp can eat crabs. Probably. Because that would be expensive. Oi, Silos. Probably live in the most affordable place I can in the country, and it still is just like, yeah. We don't gotta talk about that. We ain't gotta talk about that. I always get the impression that the Northeast is very expensive. The Northeast and Western seacoasts are very expensive places to live and be and exist. That's the impression I get. You get more expensive the closer to the coast. Oh, you made him blush. You made him blush. That's adorable. Yeah, kiss. Just gotta keep on drawing. Do one more. You live 50 meters away from a huge hospital, so you were walking over all puffed up. Oh my god! The shellfish tried to kill you. Wait, had you never had crab before then at that point? Or any shellfish? Not to say that that's I mean, clearly it's good that you didn't before now, I guess in a certain sense, but also unless you developed an acute allergic reaction to it, which eh. Oh. Did you just think this time it wasn't gonna do it? Maybe this time it won't cause my entire body to erupt into death. And I can't breathe. Though for real, I'm glad you are not dead. I'm sure it is actually scary, and I would never make fun of that actually. No, no, no. I can't think of anything scarier than an allergic reaction in a lot of ways. Like, as somebody who has a relative who, as somebody who has a parent who has an allergy to something that makes me go, boy, I hope I don't find that out. My mom has a codeine, a codeine addiction, a codeine allergy, not an addiction. She has an allergy to codeine, and I'm just kind of like, I just let people know just in case, because I just don't know. So I just I let the medical people know, and I'm just like, yep, she's got one, and I don't know if I have one, but I don't necessarily want to find out. If I'm already in a bad enough state that you need to give me codeine, the last thing I want you to do is to be like, codeine, why is he dying still? For different reasons. Why are they dying now? For different reasons. The codeine worked, but now they have a new problem. Having connection troubles. I don't know. I hope not. I haven't had any drop frames yet. God, what an era of the stream. That was an awful period. I still to this day do. I get mail from that old. Um, I get mail still from that internet service provider all the time. They're like, no, 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 we can cut you a deal, and I'm like, you guys, no amount of your goddamn service is going to be worth it. Stop it. Interesting. Could be a Twitch thing. Could be just a general internet thing. I think that sometimes we take for granted the fact that the internet is probably built on a house of shoestring fries and wet pasta. It is kind of magic. The more you think about it, it is like, wait a second. How though? Actually, right now, based on the connection, this is the most stable the stream I think has ever been. Like usually it has some spiking still every now and then, but it is a flat line. This stream is dead. There is no pulse off this guy. Push them into water and they would float. Sink? Does a corpse float or sink? Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. It has to be based on something, and two cans connected by string is about as basic of internet that you can get in a certain sense. It is a network. Except it's held together with silly strings, so it's fun, but not very stable. Floats, then sinks. Got it. And don't ever get it twisted. I appreciate that people come and hang out here. It's been a wild ride. It's been strange. I don't still know where this boat is taking me, but it's taking me somewhere. Can't tell if it's taking me towards land or farther into the middle of the ocean, but can't get back. I can't get off the boat now. There's ocean everywhere. I think that's a pretty appropriate analogy for my current career thing. My current perspective on things. Don't worry, it could be a lot worse. By it, I mean my opinion. It could be a lot worse. It has been actively worse. Probably been actively worse today. Go take shower. Stop the stink. Stop the stink. Remember, kids, stop the stink. Go take a shower. Have you been playing video games all day? Been playing games like Hunt Showdown, MMR6? Haven't slept in 36 hours? Stop. Look at yourself and say, stop the stink. Been bullying children on Fortnite? And haven't seen daylight? Don't remember the last time you saw daylight? Stop the stink. Trapped in Elo Hell in League of Legends? Take a break. Stop the stink. God, I remember Elo Hell. I remember giving a shit about ranked matches in general. God. I just can't be bothered anymore. The only reason why I even care about them in Hunt is because they are at least an attempt at a fundamental game mechanic. And but actually for bragging skills, I don't give a fuck anymore, man. I don't care. And I don't think I want to be a voice on the operating side of being like, and nobody really should. Unless you're going for professional play, have fun with the games you play. That said, I will admit, I need to also be better about being like, if somebody's going to sweat, usually my opinion of sweating, of like if somebody's sweating in a game. For example, that dinosaur game. When people are sweating or people are being like kind of assholes, one of the examples being like randomly killing people. I don't actually know what the acronym RB means, but it's been a term since Trouble in Terrorist Town, and to this day, I actually don't know what RB means as an acronym. I just know what it means as an action when you're randomly killing people indiscriminately for no reason other than to just grief. Uh, Usually, my kind of like mindset though is to be like, if people are gonna do that and they're gonna or they're gonna sweat, usually all I need to do then is find my own way to A, have fun, and B, not let them just terrorize for free. I am a very strong advocate for, if people are grieving, to not make it easy for them, if that makes sense. Always assume people will try to grief, and when they do, in my opinion, that is an it is your duty, it is everyone's duty to make it a point that they don't get to do that shit for free. Don't make it easy for them. That's usually that's how I think about it. That's why it's like in that dinosaur game, it sucks when it like when somebody randomly attacks you. But on the flip side, it's like, really that just gives me opportunities to practice fighting more. And if somebody's gonna do that, then that just gives me an excuse to fight somebody. Because typically I will just run away or avoid people if I'm not ready for a fight. Because that's actually how the game works. That's ultimately how the game works at a base, is that it's still a survival game. You still need to be avoiding other players when you can't fight back or shouldn't fight back. If you're fighting someone who's like several times larger than you are and you die, I mean, mm, there we go. Honestly, I could see an attempt if they ever wanted to actually truly mechanicize it. You know, that's a term that I just used. If they wanted to try to make it more mechanical, I could see them being like, somebody gets a kill, anyone within range of that, or the person who, yeah, that's the tough part. You could be like, okay, the person who gets a kill. Well, what if he gets team killed? Or what if he's about to die, so one of his teammates purposefully kills him to prevent somebody from being able to get a buff that prevents them from being able to like take damage or something. Then there's also like anyone within range of it are like slightly immune for so long. I don't know. It's tough. It is why ultimately that kind of game has to like kind of operate on a sort of social system on some kind. There has to be a sort of social agreement that people are going to behave themselves. So when they don't, you do have to ultimately be like, sorry, bud, it's not, this ain't the place for that. Okay. Three, up, two. Okay. Stop it. Get some help. Thank you, Michael Jackson. We appreciate you. Yeah, because now I need to do. We gotta start working towards this. We gotta start working towards this hand. Now we gotta start working towards this hand. Take those sausage fingers. Need to kind of have that go out a little bit. Bend ever so slightly. Trying to kind of show that there's a relaxation of the hand. Ah, why would you do that, Animate? We're going to take that. We're going to take this. I need to move it. Slightly. More drawing. More drawing. That's slightly down that way. Not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just recognizing that that's what I have to do, is more of it. Unfortunately, animation is a lot of what we like to call drawing. You have to do a lot of it, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience and practice. I will say one thing that I've learned that helps me a lot when it comes to like making certain lines is actually, in the case of, for example, this digital, if you want to be able to make something, you have to zoom in on it for detail. If you stay too zoomed out, you're more likely to make mistakes. That I actually don't know why. I just have come to learn that the more you zoom in and the closer you get, the more stable you can make certain kinds of lines and stuff. I don't know why, though. Something about arm and wrist motion works better in a reference of something that is like larger than if you were like, you would think it'd be easier to make lines if you just think, hey, but no, I don't know. You would think also oppositely that once you once you get to a certain closeness that it's like too close. And I don't know, I find that the more motion you can put in, the better. Very weird. Since I don't need to, since I'm just gonna fill that, I don't need that to be that accurate. Oops. Push the eyebrows first. I've gotten much more consistent on my sizing, I feel like. I'm just much more aware of how I'm utilizing the stylus and how the line is being drawn and like how the medium is being put down. That is something that I've been much more mindful of, is like actually paying attention to how medium is applied and where it's applied. Because again, I feel like for a long time I was very sketchy, right? Like I would just keep going over it until I got the right one. Like I didn't really take my time to like pay attention to how the medium was directly being applied. That was something that I really struggled with for a long time. Because I didn't really think of any drawing utensil as a medium applier. I just thought of it as a instrument. I just thought of it as like a thing that I put on a thing and then moved to make shape. That's all I used to think. I didn't think about how it applied medium. Now I just really pay better, closer attention to how that works. Weirdly enough, I find that if I'm not careful, I actually space out a lot when I draw. It's like I don't watch. I like just do the motion with my body, but I don't actually watch what the line does. It's very odd to say that. And I don't think I am actually unique for that. I think a lot of people who, if you have a hard time with drawing, I think sometimes it takes a lot of effort to really test your self-examination of how you do something, because it's easy to just be like, I just make the shape, I make the line, whatever, and not like think about paying attention to how you're actually moving the tip of your medium device and instead just make an instinctive motion. I think it's easy to do that. I think it is, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's like a good start. It's like kind of like the thesis of being like, I can make things with the pencil. But I think often what helps the most in being able to break that and being able to develop more artistry is being able to realize that you need to be really cognizant of how your medium is being applied and not just the motions that you're taking. Because at one point I would say like I got consistent at drawing things the same way, in such a way that I would like do stuff like, I need a dinosaur leg, uh something like that. And then you have this, you've got the dealy bob here, and then you do leg. Like that's how I used to do legs. And now I actually really do think about, like, if it is a leg, like how different planes of it actually work now. And I think about it as a structure rather than just a series of lines that I make. I don't know. I try to like be a little bit more cognizant of like actually how I shape a lot more of my stuff these days. I think about the overall shape of it in applying the medium and not just how do I make something that is the outline of the thing I want. That helps a lot. I think that helps a lot. Sometimes I fall into it. I do notice that I fall into it, but I do try to like break out of it when I notice it. Oh shit. Oh god damn it. What just be was I did you guys hear it's a word no, that's in. I don't know what just binger bongered. That's fine. God, I still get a little paranoid. I still don't know what sometimes my computer just turns things off and I don't know why. I need a little bit of bend. A little bit of bend from all of the fingers. That's a fun thing that I just did there. I like how that looks. I like how that looks. Little bit more bend. A little bit more bend. Not that much bend. Just a just a little bit. I don't want that much. How do I keep doing that? There we go. Much better. That's what I was trying to do. Now, we take the whole thing, move the center of axis a little bit. Kind of like that. Half. So it'll be two, 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 two. Yeah. I want it to close a little bit. And the next one, yeah. And the good news is if I need more space for it, I can always just push that back. I can always just push that back. Guess I should draw the rest of it. Huh. Guess I should draw the rest of the character, huh? Guess I should draw the rest of the owl, huh? What if I don't want to? Unironically, if you don't want to draw the rest of the owl, you don't have to. If you draw something and you stop where you're comfortable stopping, it could literally be unfinished. That's fine. Remember that. You don't have to draw the rest of the owl, actually, when you're making anything. Make as much as you want, make as much as you can. Never actually have to finish drawing the owl. Listen, this is an owl. Look. I drew an owl. That's an owl. I don't have to draw more than that. That's an owl. I very much believe in a sort of hold back approach, hold me back approach. I very much prefer the idea that when doing art, trying to keep things simpler is going to benefit you more. Trying to keep things a simpler kind of like aesthetic or effort is going to benefit you more than working a ton or working really, really hard on something that, or putting a lot of effort into something that isn't going to work. Keeping things simple first before you complicate them is, for me, the most important thing to making something that will at least work. Sometimes you just have to keep things simple. You can't do the most complicated thing. You can't do the thing that you're capable of is the way I would think about it. Do what you're capable of and start simple. Always start simple. Because if you try to make something as complicated as you can right out the gate, all you're going to do is hit brick wall after brick wall until you give up. At least I do. But if you start with something simple that is like tangible, then you can take what you learn from that and slowly but surely nudge it into more complicated things. That's why, to a certain extent, it's a good thing that I have returned to that setting, that horror setting that I've been talking about, the horror setting that I started a tabletop game with friends 7 years ago, 8 years ago, because it was 2017. I did the math on that right. Yeah, I did do the math on that right. Because now I have a little bit better scope. Yeah, I already have the base. I have the parts that were already simple. I started simple with that because it was what I was capable of at that time. And that work is already done. That work is already finished. All that I have to do now is take what I know now, my knowledge that I know now, the things that I can do more of, and build on top of it. Start simple, get complex. That is the best way to do anything, is start as simple as you are capable of doing and make sure that even that whatever you get done is the simplest thing you can get done, if that makes sense. Polish and complication comes when you have the budget for it. And budget doesn't have to mean money. It can also just mean mental budget. Don't strain your mental budget. Take care of your brains, people. It's hard out there. It's hard right now. Take care of your brains. You're gonna need them. Believe it or not. Might seem like we're all fried, but you will need your brains. And I will say another reason why I think it's good that I'm coming back to this game with a like kind of newer, fresher mindset is I will admit I was using that game to explore some not so savory things, and now I feel like I can use it to be much more approachable. It can still have those themes and those motifs in it, but they're not going to be as hardcore, and I don't want them to be. Because A, I want people to have fun with it, and I do want it to be a horror. I want it to be a horror as a, like, horror can be fun and be entertaining, and not just be about really upsetting topics all the time. And I would like that to actually take more of a back seat, so that way if people read into it, they could appreciate that those things exist, but they don't actually have to be the core messaging of the piece. Because ultimately, what I want out of that horror setting, what I want out of that horror game, is a sort of dream scenario, if that makes sense, in which I got to craft the horror game, horror experience I envision that I would want to make based on the horror that I enjoy. That's why ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it would be the focus, but I do think that there would be an encouragement that if we can have moments of comedy horror in it, absolutely. I will be cracking jokes in that game, even unintentionally. One, that's just the way that I kind of do world interaction anyways, regardless if I'm running the game or if I'm a player in a game. We're literally playing a game right now. Me and my friends, Jackson wanted to try a World of Darkness game, and we're doing mage. Both Sean and I are mages, and I am quite literally supposed to be a private detective, private eye, who is a spirit detective. And even though they could and should be a very serious character, I will find opportunities to not be serious. It's just the way that I am. It's the way that I kind of operate. And that's not to say that the character hasn't had good serious moments already. To which Jackson is doing a fantastic job running that game. Really enjoying it. I'm glad that he's running it. It's super fun, and World of Darkness is a fascinating system. World of Darkness is a system that I'm glad that I'm playing that somebody else is running, if that makes sense. Because if you can't tell, based on the literal one stream that I did of all of the concept art that I made for something that I want to do literally 2 months from now, I like to do a lot of the legwork of making an entire setting. That is just something I enjoy doing. That's not a joke. Like, I love that process of being able to write something into existence. I like that kind of creative element. World of Darkness, on the other hand, is a fascinating case, and I have not really actually encountered this in a game. It benefits from how fucking established its canon is. And it is cool for it. Like, I've gotten to do things in that game that could only be done because that game has such a strictly extant canon. And that's not to say that you can't, like, do original work in World of Darkness game. It just has so much material, so much source material, reference material to pull that you A, don't really have to, and B, would be missing out on an element of a World of Darkness game if you didn't try to play in its space, if you didn't try to play in its headspace and actually utilize a lot of its really really diversely designed setting dogma. Because I think a lot of the appeal of World of Darkness is how rich that setting is that you didn't have to do any of the work for. I'm not gonna lie, like, the only work you have to do is a lot of research on part of what the fuck is any of this shit. But you don't have to actually, like, create anything. You're just utilizing a lot of creativity tools, which is super cool. Like, I actually, or at least that's the way that we're playing this World of Darkness game, which I've never played a game like that before. Even though I know things like, technically speaking, things like Dungeons and Dragons, and even the system that we're going to run or even the system that I want to run. I need to phrase it that way, just being hopeful. Just being wary, but hopeful. Uh, Even the system that I want to run has actually a lot of established canon, and Dungeons and Dragons has established canons. But to put them in perspective a little bit, the game that we want to run, the more we read into it, it is very homebrew agnostic. It very much actually is like, here's a bunch of materials, but really, we just want you to do what you want to do, because in reality, this game is seemingly a service to be able to run the kinds of horror experiences that science fiction horror needs, and is clearly more like, do you want to play your favorite science fiction horror piece of media? That's all we want to do for you. It doesn't have to, our established canon does not have to be something you need to use, because in reality, the game itself wants you to just play your favorite science fiction horror. That's all it wants. It wants you to be able to do that. So it actually is designed, and the materials are written in such a way that they're very malleable. And D&D is very similar, I feel like. You could use the established canon, but really, you just have a series of pretty generic fantasy tools. I will say that. They are the most generic because they are the most widespread fantasy stuff. Not that that's a bad thing, because in D&D's benefit, be able to play out your fantasy. What fantasy kind of thing do you want to do? D&D will probably be able to support it. Whatever Tolkien fantasy you want to be able to reconstruct. That's the big thing, is it's about reconstruction of inspiration, I think, is what I like in a tabletop system. I like being able to utilize the tabletop system to construct and reconstruct a story that I want to tell. That is something that appeals to me about tabletop. World of Darkness, not to say that would be impossible, but certainly the way that we're playing it this time is very much not that. You don't have to do that. Quite the opposite. There is so much material for World of Darkness just in their player handbook that if you want a sort of like world understanding of that game, you can find it, whether it be through the direct resource material or through online stuff. Like, I found a little bit of stuff online too that helped me, that gave me a little bit of context to better understand what my character is doing. And there is something neat about that, because once I realized that this was an element of the game, the sort of set dressing of World of Darkness encourages all the players, including the GM, to really engage with the setting. It really encourages them to go out of their own way to be like, no, figure it out. Like, actually engage with a lot of the setting to be able to gain a frame of reference for what you're doing in the setting, how you're living in the setting, stuff like that. Like, there is a very clear sense that World of Darkness wants you to be engaged with its media as a part of the play, and that you as a player are engaged with that media directly, and that you aren't just being told what you know, or aren't just being told what is new, or having to learn the system as you go. Very much of it wants you to be kind of like finding that information for yourself as you're playing through the core material, which I think is kind of neat. It does make for the unfortunate situation where it's like, to me, I don't really engage with writing that way. That's just not how I engage with writing. So for me, that's a nightmare. Though I will say it has gotten me into a better mindset of actually having to read the goddamn books. I didn't always read the books when we played game. Hey, sometimes we all decide to do things. I don't know why I did that time. I was kind of like, why did I ever just think to just drop the I in there? I might have to do that in the future. Instead of having to draw it out every time, I could just literally, I could have just probably literally been doing this and it would have stayed the same size if I would have got, let's say if I go up to 60, yeah, if I would have just done this and just, I could have been doing that, I guess. And that would have kept the eye size the exact same every time. Well, late for regrets now. I learned something though. But World of Darkness has like a lot of material on it, and that is what's cool about it, is that it has so much material, and that once you start going to look for things, you can start getting a better idea of like, oh wait, no, like my character would know this because now I know this. Like, it is very much an encyclopedia game, um, which is cool about it. It is a cool element that, as far as I've seen, is not really a thing in a lot of games. Though I have not. I get if I was to look at any, the next one would probably be Warhammer 40K. I get the vibe that 40K is probably going to be the next closest thing that really benefits from at least trying to align to some level of established canon. Because there's a lot of it out there. I know there's a lot of it out there for 40K specifically. And essentially, the difference between things like D&D and things like World of Darkness is D&D wants it to be more generic, so the player, even if they're utilizing things that are D&D coded, that the player is like utilizing them for what they want out of it. World of Darkness, on the other hand, quite literally does the opposite. It has made things with the intent of telling the player, there is so much resource here. You use it how you want to because you will have a resource for it, but you use it a specific way, or you contextualize it a specific way. And they've gone and done the work to make sure that all of that context is there. That's the big thing. It's not vague. Well, usually. Sometimes Mage gets a little vague, but 90% of the time it is actually not that vague. It gives you resources quite literally as resources. Like, you just have a bunch of material that you have to draw from. And you don't have to use all of it, but if it does come up, you have a resource for it that you can rely on to be able to have it be something very concrete. Which is neat. It is neat. It helps also that so much of World of Darkness, from the little that we've played, really focuses on um it really focuses on trying to hold on. Sorry, I have to think. Sorry, I have to use my brain. Sorry, I have to use my brain. World of Darkness focuses on like really established setting canon. So like it gives you a lot of cookies to kind of like chew on. And then you decide to make a story out of all of the different setting resources you have rather than trying to tell a discrete story that World of Darkness wants you to tell. All World of Darkness wants out of you is to use its material to make a story how you want to, and its material is just hyper detailed. Its material and resources are just very, very detailed for the player to be able to actually make those stories out of all those pieces, which is neat. It's not something I've really experienced in a game before. Move this finger. This hand. Move this hand up a little bit more. Hold on. Yeah, I have to just move the pinky and the thumb together. So really, the thumb should be moving too. Hold on. I also need to be it. How fast? We just move this. It that way. Here's the thing I need to do is I need to kind of move. I need to move the thumb horizontally, which will mean changing the shape of thumb a little bit. Kind of like that. Oops. Didn't mean to make that one frame. I also kind of made a whoopsie. Kind of made a whoopsie there where I accidentally forgot to draw the hand, so I did that a little late. Somehow I messed that up too. Don't worry about what the hand is doing. Don't worry about what the hand is doing. The thumb is moving. That's what matters. Actually, hold on. This finger does need to move with it, I think, and it just needs to... We're going to just do this for now. Have it doing that. I need this. Continue. Move out that way. Something like that. Gonna bend the fingers down a little bit more. This needs to start bending down like that. This needs to start bending down. Kind of like that. Perfect, actually. Almost perfect. Almost perfect. Perfect proceeds to delete it. Not perfect. Wasn't perfect. Ah, shit, that was perfect, though. There we go. The idea I want to go for that the fingers, the middle two fingers aren't. I want some hand compression, and the middle two fingers aren't going to curl all the way down, but they're curling to like kind of relieve. Because like this is already an awkward like pose to make if you straighten them back out. So to get there, you have to curl your hand a little bit. You just have to curl your hand like a little bit to get that to that point. Yeah. So I want it to curl, and then when it hits the pinky, I want to curl it down. When it hits the pink, so you do up and then down, up and then down, up and then down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh shit! I forgot to draw that. This is why sometimes you have to turn off your onion skin to see what you missed drawing. This is why sometimes you do need to turn off the onion skin to know what you missed. Ah, beans. And boy, that's gonna be interesting. I think I want... This is perfect. I think we want one more frame here. Yeah, no, that should be enough. Only one way to find out. Buckle up. Buckle up. Only one way to find out if this works. Do the thing. Bet you didn't think that 3 seconds was gonna take 3 weeks to do. Nobody is allowed to ever complain about how long animation takes. I'm never allowed to complain about how long animation takes ever again. It takes a long fucking time. His drawing It is very meticulously drawing multiple sequences of the same thing over and over again. The painstaking process of patience. Now, why didn't you do my line? That was weird. Oops, let me do my thing. Let me do my thing. I think right now, when it comes to these outlines, hold on. I found a couple of different things that help keeping them consistent. One of them is I very much a much closer mind to how I'm placing down a line, a piece of media. And also I know when to like apply enough pressure to where it makes it harder or easier to do certain things. Like for this, it's like all I need to do is get it the same outer shaped size to be relatively the same. The inside is going to be filled up anyway, so I don't care about that. Man, remember when I was coloring those in? Boy, those were the frickin' days. Until I learned that the paint bucket is in fact my best friend. The day I learned that the paint bucket is in fact my best friend, I went, wow, I should have been doing this a lot sooner. Hey, lovey. That's how it goes. So it goes. There we go. Did I forget anything? What's funny is that definitely is the right amount of movement. Like that's exactly what I wanted to be doing. Do hold on. We need this here. That line there. T-Rex hand. Yeah, I might need to eat into it a little bit, but I think because it would be close to this. It would be close to this timing. This got pinky almost all the way down now. Kind of that there too. There. Something like that. And I might have to reshape the thumb. I might redraw that hand if it's too different. And do something like that. Let me see. I need the onion skin gone. Perfect. Beautiful. Beautiful hand. Beautiful hand. Oh no, 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 no. I don't want to open anything. I don't want to open anything. Kind of like that. That makes sense. Yeah, because then it'll go from this position. So we'll do... This is ready now. I just need to select it. And now, just a slight bit of rotation. Slightest bit of rotation. I think it also depends on the day, but I notice that certainly if I can zoom out more, I can go a little bit faster. I can go a little bit faster if I zoom out a little bit more, but there's a little bit of an inherent risk there where I feel like I am less likely to do certain things because I'm not as zoomed in seeing exactly what I'm doing. But I am getting a bigger picture, be able to draw out certain things. Yeah, not like that. No, not like that. There we go. It would suck, but if I had to go back and do rechange something, it'd probably be the dangle sizes because it seems that they're not proportional, which is whatever. She just has a right dangle that's a little bit longer than her left dangle. It's fine. There we go. Not, not do that. Also forgot this line. Huh! Patience. Patience. Animation is a good way to test your patience. I don't mean that in a facetious way. In a fastidious way. I mean it in a genuine way. Good way to be like, hey, can I be patient enough to do a thing? Okay to be like, I can't, but you want to. There we go. Hello, sir. Oh, hey, hey. No, 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 no. It's okay. Oh, he's scared. You're okay. It's alright. Don't freak out. My boy. My poor boy. It's just some people. Calm down. He immediately was like, nope, nope, nope. Maybe he's gonna go yell at them now. He did bolt straight for my computer. I was like, listen, he's only turned off the stream once. It's only ever happened once. Wow, it's only 9:17. We are making really good time today. Sometimes I just wonder. I don't know what it was last time. I feel like last time I was really. It wasn't even that I was like going slow or anything. I just didn't make good progress. It felt like I don't know what it was. And it feels like today I'm like I still have 1 more hour. Jeez. I was like maybe it's almost time. I was like no, not even close. Still go at least 1 more hour. Did I start? I might have started a little bit later last time too. Now that I think about it. When you give yourself less time to do something, you do less. This is true. Do 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 do. God, it's so close. I'm definitely at least gonna get this hand gesture down today. Then that leaves the funny one. That leaves the funny one. Which honestly might not even be that bad. I'm gonna shrink that thumb. I'm gonna probably shrink this thumb a little bit. Prep it. That. Thumb got too big. I'm going to move you a little bit more that way. This and a little bit more this way. This is something I'm trying to be a little bit more aware of. How to do stuff like that. Boop. And we're gonna tighten it up a little bit. Too skinny. Too skinny. Gotta make sure it's the right size. There. Like that. that. Start straightening this out again. Make this a little bit thinner. And we're going to start straightening this out. Have a little bit of a bend on it. No. There you go. T-Rex hand. Give me the T-Rex hands. Of course I had to do it this way. It's T-Rex hands. Gradient. Hmm. What the hell? Where did my most important tool go? There it is. I was like, where did one of my most important tools go? I kind of need that. You nice position there. And do 1, 2, and then 3. Yeah, so I got one more frame to draw after this. Perfect. Something like that. Because I have to think about, yeah, it's going to make, it's my thumb jutting out. Hand is a strange thing. Yes. I'm glad we're going to have this done today, actually. That'll be very nice. And then all I've got to do... I mean, I don't have a joke planned. She's just gonna pop a popper and then walk off screen. That's all it's gonna be. The joke is that she doesn't care. The joke is she's disappointed. It took me a year to make this. I started this... I want to say I started it this year. I started it in January, so... I had a couple days there that I missed, though. This hasn't been the entire year. It's been most of it. Oh, damn it. Missed a line. Alright. And as soon as this is done... I don't know what I'm gonna do, actually. Part of me is like, get this done, And I focus either only on drawing or I only focus on animation, and that sounds like a nightmare. I don't know if I want to do another half a year long project, though certainly I want, if I'm going to do a longer project for animation, depending on how this goes, I will probably do more animation, but certainly nothing as long as this. Hopefully. And hey, either way, this has been quite a learning experience, and also a good example of what I can do. There we go. Nope. There we I have ideas for how she's going to do the last gesture, though. I think she's going to do a... She's gonna, like, flip her hand around, so I want her to, like, count down, and on the last one, either spin her whole wrist, or just flip her hand. Probably do the simpler of the two, but a fanciful wrist twist into a fuck you is something up my alley. There we go. And then I need to do... We'll do one more, and then we'll probably call it soon. Because there's some other things I want to do anyways. There is some other things I want to... I need to do some catch up a little bit. I'm falling behind on a couple things. And also... My game is on my mind. I am doing a ton of research on it. And honestly, having played Starflight and Outer Wilds really helped put me in a mindset to be much more not discreet, discretionary maybe. I really want to been doing a lot of research on like astral bodies and solar bodies and stuff. I want my space science to be good. And I say that, though I need to do a little bit more. I need to be like, what would you actually get if you decided to do this? Would it even be worth doing? Probably. And if it isn't, then I could just make up my own thing. Just be like, oh, the reason why they're there is because they found the thing. Huh? That should be moving more. This should move more. More. Yeah, that actually feels like motion, at least. A little bit more. Then we're going to do this. That. What I need to do is I'm going to have to redraw this hand, I think. Which is fine. This has it actually tucked in the way that I want it to go. I think that this rendition of the hand looks much better than the original rendition I made. I need that line. Don't get rid of that line. There we go. Almost. That. Hey, that's much better. Kind of. Now, I grab it and we nudge it over. About there-ish. And then I need to I'll actually redraw that hand. I'll redraw that hand. I think it'll look better. Cuz that looks more like what it should look like. Whatever I had before is just I was trying something. I was just trying to get something on paper. You know what? That's what you need it for sometimes. It does make me wonder if they ever redraw keyframes once they actually get to the frame, in case anything changed on the way. I'm guessing they have to. Like, stuff like this probably happens. Probably. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe if you're just good enough at animation, you don't have to redraw shit. Lucky bastards. I change. Keep that there. It. Ultimately, if there's anything that I want to improve, it just really is getting in the ability to just be able to do this a lot faster. If I could do a frame a minute, that would be insane. That's not even including coloring or anything. This is just me getting simplest depiction of the motion without anything else. Ugh. I'm gonna have to do coloring. I don't want to do coloring. The good news is I can think of some ideas on how to make it go faster. I'm going to be using the hell out of the paint bucket, that's for damn sure. Hey, there's a reason why cell shading works so well for animation, guys. It's because it's very simple. Because it's not actually that complicated. You make a space, you fill the color there, that's all you do. Don't overcomplicate it. Does mean I'll probably have to do coloring on the same layer as the line art, but it is what I would have to do. Either that or I have to wand every single space and then fill it on a different layer, and that is just too many steps. That's just too many steps. And hey, to think about it this way, no matter what, even if I was a little bit chilled out today, still got more work. I feel like I made a lot of very, very good progress, actually. I feel like I did get stagnated, and I definitely got done what I wanted today. Get done. And really, the next frame, all I gotta do is redraw a hand. I don't have to draw anything else. The rest of her has been drawn. Rest of Canary is here. I don't have to draw anything else, which is nice. Sometimes, Animate, I just have to wonder why you make certain lines. I don't even know why it does that sometimes. It just decides to. It just decides to make decisions that I tell it not to do. Or that I didn't tell it to do. It's not even that I didn't tell it to. It's not that I told it not to do it. It's that I didn't tell it to do it and it did it on its own. But let's fix it. Let's go. Well, no, you didn't. And then I do something different. That's what I do. Yep, that's good. So close. I know they gave me a bunch of pen tips, and I use this pretty frequently, and yet I still don't think I ever replaced the pen tip on even my old tablet. And I use that tablet a lot. I use that tablet as recently as last year before I got this thing. So, like, I'll have them just in case, but I don't think I've ever actually needed to replace the, like, pen tips on any of my drawing style, like, drawing things. T-Rex hands. Yeah, that works much better. So what we're going to do here now, I need to delete this. Redraw this. There we go. We've done it. That's two. I would say that's pretty definitively two. Now, take this. One more time. Retransform. Do here, rotate down. And let's see. Let us see the magic. Yeah, that works really well. Oh, the magic of animation. It just works, guys. 3, 2. What a I didn't think I was gonna make that make sense. I didn't think I was gonna make that motion make sense, and I did it. I fucking did it though. Ugh. that much time to make a pinky go down. That much time to make a pinky go down. It wasn't even all the pinky going down. Really, it was holding all of the fingers up and then making a pinky go down. Is most of that work. We're 35 minutes away from half an hour, or from 3 hours, so I'm gonna go as a little bit longer. I'll go a little bit longer. I'll try to hit close to. I'll try to hit to 250 and then start my down. Start my down. But yeah, oh my god, that came out actually really good. That came out really really good. I'm glad it worked. I was very concerned. I'll save it. Paranoia, save it one more time just in case. Honestly, that looks way better than I expected it to. That looks a lot better than I expected it to look. The T-Rex hands look really funny, but like actually good now. They look really silly in a way that I like. The T-Rex hands. Try to do that with your hands. Little T-Rex hands. 2 fingers. If I wanted to, I could maybe do like one more line. I could do like a line. Hmm. No, it would be like a line there. It would be like a line there because like it's your pits, it's your hand pits. Because your hand is weird in that it actually has a lot of flat surfaces that like bend and fold, but they still fold on planes. They don't fold like a piece of paper. They actually fold on very specific planes of or axes of and angles of pivot. They actually really fold on very specific pivots. Your hand pivots in very weird ways. We have like one thing to think about is like actually you have webbing. You have webbing. Before your hand starts moving, there's like a portion of your hand that is technically the finger knuckles, right? And like aren't individual fingers, but they like kind of bend, it kind of like bends and manipulates on the same kind of axes of motion, but it's not finger, it's hand. It's palm. Hands are weird. And the fact that I really nailed this understanding that when you fold your hand in, it actually shrinks your hand horizontally. Your hand shrinks down. It gets the profile of it gets thinner if you were to move your hand that way. I really like that I nailed that. And it makes sense. It makes much much more sense. Do like a couple more frames. We'll do like a couple more. I go a little bit farther out. My index finger is working. That's all that I needed to do is I just needed to work. I just need something that works. This is already a really awkward position anyway, so I just gotta go with what works. There we go. Decelerate. Kind of decelerate it. But I did have the right idea. Hey, guess what? Do you want to know the one thing that did work? You want to know the one place where the idea I had did work? I did reuse one frame. I saved myself one frame of redrawing. So, I'm figuring something out. Like, I didn't end up having to redraw every single frame. Now, the goal is how do I increase that volume? I mean, ideally speaking, things like walk cycles and certain kinds of repetitive animations do cycle in such a way that you don't they are still by nature repetitive. So to a certain extent I want to be getting to that point where I can make animations that work on like a single diode or single cycle. Being able to repeat an animation is like animation gold. I feel like that's animation gold. If you can repeat a frame and it not affect anything, you saved yourself so much work. Oh yeah, you need to do this. There we go. This will probably be the last frame we work on today. We'll see. This one, maybe one more, depending on how... No, yeah, this is the last one. This frame, and we're done. I mean, I rush it. Does mean that I need to put on the gas a little bit. Feather the throttle. Always remember. Don't be afraid to pick up the pace, but also don't do so in such a way that you lose control or end up making work for yourself. I have a hot take. People need to know how to... People who drive, this is actually a driving hot take, is that people need to learn how to do throttle control better. People do not know how to do throttle control, and it drives me nuts. So I guarantee a lot of people would probably be a lot less frustrated if they just understood that if they just chilled for a second, that they would be fine. Because it oftentimes feels like people have to like drive around people because they don't realize that they are going too fast. Yes, I would call that out. I would definitely call out people like doing that kind of shit as them not realizing that they're the ones going too quick. And that's not to say you won't never run into people who are going slower. I just am saying if you're having to pass everyone all the time, hmm, hmm. If you're having to switch lanes every few seconds, don't think that's actually on the traffic. And it drives me crazy that a lot of people drive like that. Like, they just keep lane switching, get around everyone and get past everyone when it's like, actually, this is how. And then they seem to always get upset when, like, traffic ends up boxing or blocking them out. And it's like, just get where you need to be, bud, and chill. Driving wouldn't be so stressful. People, like, just did it instead of having it be this weird devil's gambit that we have to run. The only thing I don't like about driving. That and the presence of vehicle is bad. Owning vehicle is a nightmare. Owning a car is just a way to shackle yourself to having to take care of a very expensive thing all the time. I'm at the point that if I didn't have to own a car, I still wouldn't, even though I personally do kind of enjoy cars. If I didn't have to own a car, I probably wouldn't right now. Because overall, my life has improved from owning a car. The downside is now I own a car. And now I have to take care of a car. Taking care of a car sucks. Yeah. This came out really good. This is coming out really, really good. I'm so happy. I am so happy that this has been turning out so well, honestly. Like, it's been looking good. It's been a lot of work, but it definitely feels like it's coming along very, very nicely. And I'm glad that the count, uh, the count part is actually coming along nicely. I was really worried about that this was going to be a lot harder, and I would actually say in a lot of ways this part has been going so much smoother, and I kind of wished it would have gone smoother earlier for like for whatever reason. This part here fucked me up. I was just going through it at that portion of the animation. It was rough. It was rough doing that part. I don't know why. And I'm constantly like wanting to revisit it and kind of like tweak and polish it. It's the portion that I'm the least happy with, is this whole area, because everything moves not quite correctly in my opinion. And then after that it's like, "Oh, this is really good though. The hands, that's great." Like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like the harder animation was the hands. Like, all this was not that hard to, or all that was like pretty straightforward. I just was really struggling with drawing the same thing over and over again still, I think. Still learning how to do certain things, because actually animation is really hard and requires an entire crew. It requires an entire crew to do animation. You need more people to do it. I'm going to drink a bunch of water because I'm thirsty. I mean, if there's anything I've learned from animation, being one person and doing it is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Like, I really could see the value of being able to be like, keyframes on fours, keyframes on eights, and then being able to have direction to be like, now you do the tweening so I don't have to. Or at the very least, you do tweening so I can do tweening or something else. Like, that's the thing, is like, even if I was to direct an animation project and had like a team, and if I had like a dedicated, like, say, tweener, I would still be like, okay, we're on tweening now. Or like, hey, you know, here's the rough sketches. Then we have people working on keyframes, and then we have people working on tweening. And I would be also doing the tweeting. That's the big part. That's the big thing. Is if I was to be directing an animation thing, if you were hired as a tweener, I'd have you doing tweens, though you'd have to wait until our keyframes were done. But ideally, I would be like, okay, here is the rough sketches. Rough sketch, rough sketch, rough sketch. Okay, let's start working on keyframes. And like every time I do a rough sketch, people start doing the keyframes, and then the keyframes start doing. Once the keyframes are ready, people start doing the tweens. I feel like that's the way it would break down. And then the rough sketch, and then like going back and like polishing through tweens and stuff like that with people. Like it would depend on the scope of the project, and it would depend on how quick people could work. Because ideally speaking, people drew at the same pace that I did. If we all drew at the exact same pace, every time I would get a reference done, somebody would get a keyframe done, and somebody would get a tween done. So ideally speaking, references and keyframes would be done still first at roughly the same time, but tweens would be a lot more work. So thus, if people needed to work on tweens, I would also work on tweens, especially if there weren't keyframes that needed to be worked on. I would also be doing tweens. It takes a village to make the funny. It takes a village to make a person flip the bird. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start closing it down. I had a good time to do some other things, but we're going to go ahead and call it for the night. Thank you for joining, everybody. Before we go, I'm going to do one more thing. We're going to make a prompt together in Paint. I'm going to open up Paint and open up a timer. And I'm going to give myself a minute, and we're going to make a prompt. And then I'm going to draw a picture, whatever, based on whatever that prompt is. If you want to participate in chat, all you got to do is type in chat, whatever chat says, use as reference. And then I'll share the image before we rate out. So, making the funny T-Rex hands. You know, this is a bit, like, a bit inceptive. I feel like it's like I was like skeptical, and the more I think about it, if I really think about it, well, no, the way I did T-Rex hands was the traditional index finger with the ring, with the middle finger. I was about to say, I I feel like I did T-Rex hands like that. No, I didn't. I did T-Rex hands the way everybody does T-Rex hands. You do a thumb over the ring and the pinky finger. Those are T-Rex hands. Everybody does T-Rex hands like that. And you turn them easily into Velociraptor hands by extending the pinky finger. That's how you do your dinosaur hands. That's how I did dinosaur hands. As soon, I'm going to plug that in, move this, and then I'm going to move my whole screen over here. How do I do this? What's funny is I feel like I was doing it standing, thinking it would be better, but actually I feel like doing it sitting is kind of nice. Then I just put it where it needs to go. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to open up Paint, and as soon as I got that, I'm going to go ahead and draw my thing. Ooh. All right. Let me look at my prompt one more time. Making the funny T-Rex hands. Making the funny T-Rex hands. Just making the funny T-Rex hands. They are what they are. You can't go wrong with the funny T-Rex hands. All right. Oh God. My characters never have fingers. And I'm doing this with a mouse. Oh, this feels awful to do. Good. I don't know how to feel about the fact that I did this so well with a mouse, though. Perfect. That's the perfect way to do it. I have to give myself exactly 4 seconds left to be able to type out literally anything. All right, stick around to the very end, everybody. We also do a bit of a closing bit. We do raid after every stream, so that way the vampires in our chat can keep watching. So everybody else out there, make sure to go lock your doors and windows. It's almost lunchtime for vampires. And thank you for joining, everybody. Hope you had a good time and you enjoyed the show. If you're able to join the live show, thank you for stopping by, chatting, and watching. If you're watching this in the future, thank you for taking the time to go back and rewatch the VOD. We appreciate it. If you're out there and you enjoyed this and you want to see more of what we're up to, I recommend scrolling down below and following or clicking any of the links. There's a link to all of my socials in the Discord. We post when we go live on any one of those platforms, as well as anything else that we're up to, and just generally you can come hang out with the rest of the community there. It's a good time on the Discord. Speaking of which, shout out to our community there and everyone who follows. You guys are a wonderful audience, and we appreciate you. If we do anything particularly entertaining or noteworthy, feel free to clip it and share it on the internet. Just make sure to also hashtag with MCCanary, or link it back to the stream so people can find more of the good stuff we do here. And if you want to see the stream grow, you gotta let people know. I appreciate that people have been talking about the stream, and I encourage you guys to do it more. It does help us out. It's just super rad that you guys have been willing to do that. And I'm just glad that we're doing things that you guys want to talk about. So go tell people about the stream. Go tell your friends about the stream. I won't, and I can't. And as always, a huge thank you to all of the supporters on Patreon and Twitch and Coffee. Your generosity allows us to continue to expand the stream as well as take on more projects, and the stream would not be made possible without viewers like you. So we thank you. If you want to see your name added to this list, as well as a couple of the benefits you can get, you could always subscribe directly on Twitch or check out the Patreon page here. It'll show you everything that you can get, and any amount is always appreciated. Once again, thank you. And thank you to your mods who do a wonderful job holding back the Robot Army and becoming famous. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. I hope you had a good time watching me animate. I certainly had a good time animating. I made some good progress. We got 2 seconds down, 1 more to go. And then something funny happens, I guess. And then I have to make her do a funny thing. I'll get you through housekeeping to get you on your way. Check out the rest of our friends in Goblin Entertainment here. That link tree, this one right here, the one that I'm typing in right now. That link tree has links to everyone's channels and everything that they've done and they've been up to, and the rest of my stuff here. If I could spell it right. Has everything that I post to. So go check everybody out in Goblin Entertainment. And stick around. We will go say hi to Misa. Go say hi to Misa. I was talking about her. I was just letting her know that she didn't know she did animation. Or at least that she got a degree in it. I hope she doesn't get upset about that, actually. Listen. Some people... I'm curious. I'm curious what she'll say. I'm curious. Maybe she won't say nothing. That's okay, too. So everybody say to her, she's a good gal. She's a really rad person. So stick around for that. Otherwise, have a good evening. Take it easy. And remember, animation is pretty good. It's pretty fun. It's making the fun. This is how I become a T-Rex. This is how you should become. This is how everyone becomes a T-Rex. This is what you do to become a T-Rex, everybody. Just do this with your hands. Good, bunny? You doing, Puffball? He just leapt into my lap. Didn't say a word, just leapt straight into my lap. And now he clean. I'm gonna finish this by the end of the year. I can do it. I can do it. It'll be close, but I think I can do